So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. I'm very excited about this. And I'm very excited about this because recently I had a conversation with our presenter today, Zach Carson, who is a applications engineer and pre-sales technical specialist with PTC's Virtual Center of Excellence. So Zach and I had this conversation, and he was saying, hey, the SolidWorks Workgroup Manager would really be a good webinar topic. And we set this up, and I was just at LiveWorks last week, which was absolutely amazing and exciting. It really was a lot of fun. And for the people who stopped by the 3HTI booth and we were going through our webinar schedule, when I told them that we were having this webinar, they were like, how do I sign up for that? We're like, well, click on the bit.ly link here and, sign yourself up. So very excited to have Zach presenting today, as well as everybody attending. So if you have any questions, feel free to type those into the Q&A section. We'll try to answer those as we go, but we'll definitely answer them at the end. So without further ado, Zach, you have control, and thank you for leading us today.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Rob. Thanks
welcome.
Everyone for joining too. So today, as Rob stated, we'll be going through Windchill Workgroup Manager. I think this is a really good topic for everyone to see and familiarize yourself with, because a lot of times, we talk to people and we kind of hear similar things with, I already have a certain CAD system. Maybe it's SolidWorks, like what we're going to go through today, or maybe it's something else. And I've been using the PDM system or PLM system that goes with that. So I feel like I'm kind of locked into it. And with Windchill, that's absolutely not the case. We work with people all the time that use CAD systems that are not PTC's native product, Creo. It doesn't have to be one other system. You could have files, maybe some legacy files, maybe you have different CAD systems. You can have all kinds of different CAD systems that you're using and still manage it all in Windchill. That's really what the idea with the Workgroup Manager is. So whenever we talk to these people all the time, they have pretty similar challenges almost across the board. The first one is what I just said. You have multiple CAD applications in your enterprise. So you have different CAD applications you use, you manage, you design in, maybe some of it's legacy data. The trouble is with this, how do you go about managing the data from different CAD tools and actually consolidate it into one central source? A lot of times what people do is you use file drives, like your Windows File Explorer, maybe like a Dropbox or a Google Drive or something similar. Uncontrolled storage methods is really what it is. And that makes it pretty hard for designers and for engineers to track everything. It's easy to get to the files, sure, but what are you doing to track versions? What are you doing to make sure that people aren't overwriting each other's work? Because in the end, really what that's doing is it's costing you time and money and a lot of rework as well. Version control kind of goes hand in hand with that. Not only are people overwriting each other's files and designs, you also actually have trouble finding the right data, the right files, the most recent stuff, which is what you actually need to work with. So people downstream end up using different versions. Not everybody's on the same page to which one the right file actually is. All these are problems that can easily pop up and cause you some trouble and cost you some money if you don't actually have a system like Windchill to manage it. So the solution that PTC came up with to address these challenges is Windchill's Workgroup Manager. This is a tool that's going to run right alongside of your CAD system, and it's going to connect to the Windchill server so that you can actually manage all of your CAD data in a single source, which is Windchill, where everybody with access in your enterprise can go in and grab the data as they need it. And it's not just managing quote unquote dumb files. The Workgroup Manager is actually connecting to your CAD system. It's integrating SolidWorks with Windchill, not just managing dummy files, which a lot of times is unfortunately what happens in other PLM systems. So let's take a look at the capabilities that you're actually getting with this. Well, first is the embedded data management tools. If you look at the picture here, what you'll see where the mouse is, Windchill actually has a tab inside of SolidWorks that's going to give designers who are in SolidWorks the ability to use Windchill's data management tools right inside of the CAD application. Designers are comfortable working in the CAD system. So this is giving them a way to just continue to work in what they're comfortable with. They don't have to be a Windchill guru to open up the Windchill tab in SolidWorks and check something in or check something out or do a save as, or even undo a checkout if you did something accidentally and want to reverse it, right? You're doing it all in SolidWorks. It's the tool that you're familiar with. And it's all seamlessly integrated. So kind of goes hand in hand with what I just mentioned. It's integrating, it's not just working alongside, it's actually really guiding you through managing the data. And as you're integrating the two and you're working in SolidWorks and managing the data in Windchill, it has absolutely no impact on what you're doing with the models, how you're working with them, how you're editing them. It has no impact on that. It's just a tool that's frankly going to make your life a lot easier, make sure everything's better controlled. The last piece of this that you're getting here is the ability to get enterprise level visualizations. So you're actually getting the automated version and iteration control. You're getting automated formation of lightweight CAD representations, like you can see on the right-hand side here. This is a SolidWorks model that you're actually seeing a visualization of inside of Windchill. There's no additional work there. It's generated automatically when you check it into Windchill once the tools are connected. And other people who are using Windchill who might not be designers can actually view that. They can get an understanding of the different parts, the different designs and assemblies that you have and that you're managing in Windchill, but they don't actually need a SolidWorks license to view it. They can just do it right from inside of Windchill. And that's something that a lot of people are missing. You know, you go into enterprise systems and you can see a name or a part number or something, but you don't actually know what you're working with. This gives everybody the ability to have insight into that and to see what they're actually dealing with. So that's a brief introduction to what this tool actually is. We're going to go ahead now and jump into a demonstration so that you can actually see what this tool looks like and how SolidWorks and Windchill are going to interact with one another. Okay, so we're going to start. Yep, go ahead.
Zach, I love what you said, how it integrates with the CAD system. It's not just managing the file, but it's integrating with the specific CAD, regardless of if it's SolidWorks or Inventor or any CATIA or anything else.
Exactly. Yep. You know, I could pick any other storage system to manage an empty file that doesn't have a version or any other, you know, attributes or properties, but you're limiting the actual rewards. It's not really helping you a lot. You're just putting it somewhere and storing it. Windchill actually, like you said, it integrates. There's a lot more that you can manage. It's way better controlled, way better for really various reasons for everybody in your company. So where we're going to start here is actually inside of SolidWorks. This is a part that it's a SolidWorks design. We're managing it in Windchill. You can see from the toolbar at the top, there's a PTC Windchill tab there. So the systems have already been integrated. That's something that's not difficult to do. If you were to implement Windchill and the Workgroup Manager, then whenever you're getting the system up and running, it's something that's going to be done for you. Whoever's implementing it is going to help you out with that. But the whole idea with this is you can see here, I got some different options at the top. It's really the data management, key data management capabilities of Windchill that I just have within a tab inside of SolidWorks. So maybe this is a design that I opened from Windchill. I want to make some changes to it. The first step in that is to actually check this part out. Checking in and checking out is a big deal because this is how we are preventing people overwriting each other's work. Whenever you're using a Windows File Explorer or a Google Drive or a Dropbox or something similar, people are simultaneously working on the same files. And then you get into a situation, everyone's been in it before at some level, whether it's in CAD or even just a Microsoft Word document or something, where Rob and I both are grabbing a file. We're both working on it at the same time. I save mine first. My changes are there, but Rob already has the same file open ahead of time that he's working on. He saves it last, and then poof, all my changes that I made are gone. The check-in and check-out system prevents that from happening by forcing someone to check something out in order to make changes to it. And then in the meantime, other people can view it, but nobody else is going to be able to make changes in the meantime to that same file. So here today, what we're going to do is I'm going to take the design we already have, and we'll quickly make some changes to it, just some quick dimension changes. And then we'll change the color of this thing so that it stands out, and you'll actually be able to see the new version here in Windchill because it's already managed in there. All right, so there's my updates. And let's make this thing blue instead of green. That looks pretty good. And then what I also want to do is actually open up the properties of this. So this goes back to what I keep saying. We're working with SolidWorks. We're not just managing data. We're actually integrating and working with it. So what that allows you to do is do more than just manage a file. We can also start to manage properties and attributes of your SolidWorks model. So these are different criteria. Some of it's specific to SolidWorks, some of it's specific to Windchill. But what we can do is I can say, come into SolidWorks, it's a SolidWorks property, and I'm going to add a description in, maybe something generic. So you can see here, I'll just call this footplate for steering column assembly. That's all that I'll add for the comment. But maybe I'm changing the material of this part in SolidWorks. Maybe I'm changing some other SolidWorks specific attributes. Because these tools are integrated with the Workgroup Manager, this is actually searchable criteria in Windchill. So I could go into Windchill and I'll be able to see the SolidWorks specific comment that I just added. Or maybe this is a part that's made out of let's say, aluminum, and I want to go into Windchill and search for all my parts that were made in SolidWorks that are being made out of aluminum. That's actually an attribute that I can search on and have a lot easier time actually finding that information, right? Once we've made that change, or the changes we want, then I'm ready to go ahead and check this back in. And in checking it in, immediately when I click check in from SolidWorks, it opens up my Windchill browser. So we're looking at it actually in the Workgroup Manager. You could just open this up in Google Chrome or Firefox. You don't actually have to access it through the Workgroup Manager like I am, but this is one way that you could do it. But as soon as I click check in here, you'll see it launches this GUI that's going to guide me through it. So there's my model that I'm checking in, my footplate. Maybe you want to add a comment in. You can also require a comment to be added in to keep everyone aware. I'm just going to click finish here. And then you can see in the bottom right, my status notifications that my check-in has succeeded. So at this point, this is actually, we're done with that part. The changes have been made. It's been checked in. All of the changes with this footplate, you will see here whenever I go to open the part. So if you remember, this part originally was green. I was already managing it in Windchill. And as soon as I checked it back in, the visualization there updated. And if you look below that a little bit, and you look at the object specific category where it says description, there's my description that I added in. SolidWorks attribute that I added in that is now visible and searchable inside of Windchill. And then if I go to the object specific content for this CAD part, you can see I also have an IGES file in here. Maybe I use that for 3D printing or something like that. It's just secondary content, really. So I'm going to go ahead and do a search. And what we're actually going to work with and search for here is the assembly that steering column is being used on. The idea with this is we're not just editing parts that are one-offs, that are unrelated to one another. This is a part that's used on an assembly. It's assembled in SolidWorks, but Windchill manages everything and it updates everything as the actual parts change. So before we actually open the 3D part, I do want to show you the drawing for this to introduce you to it. And what we can look at here is I open the drawing. That's that piece that you see in the top right there. The drawing is the assembly we're going to be working with. But what I want to point out here is I have this table on the SolidWorks drawing. And at this point, this table was added and this drawing was made in SolidWorks, right? Everything here is from SolidWorks. We just took SolidWorks specific attributes and managed them in Windchill. With this integration, we can take it the other way as well. So I can actually come into this drawing everything at this point in this drawing was laid out in SolidWorks, but maybe I want to bring in Windchill specific metadata. So something like a life cycle state, so that the designers who are looking at this can actually see that. They don't even have to step foot in Windchill. They can just do it right from SolidWorks. They can open up this drawing and never have to go into Windchill, never have to search anything. They could just see here, all right, yeah, for each of these sub-assemblies or parts that make up this assembly, here's the current state that they're in. It's in design, it's in prototype, it's complete, here's the material, right? It's the full integration. We take metadata both ways. It's not just pushing data one way or pulling it the other way. It's going back and forth between the two. This is a full integration. It's seamless. It's a real relationship that we have between the two tools. Right. What I want to do now is go into my files and open up the assembly that we're looking at the drawing for. It's the steering column foot. So this is going to be the assembly that actually includes the part that we looked at earlier. And you can see here that without even going in and changing this thing or updating anything, that as we changed that foot plate from green to blue, it didn't just change that part and then update the visualization in Windchill. That was a part that's used on this assembly. So that part updates in the assembly in Windchill, and it updates in the assembly in SolidWorks, even though we never came into this assembly in SolidWorks. We just did it inside of Windchill. It updated that part in the assembly, and now whenever I open the assembly, you can see that it's blue instead of green, and we can continue to come in here and now make some other changes. Even maybe not make a change to an existing part, but even do something like add a new part. And what will happen is as we're going in, we're making changes, we're creating, we're improving on this model, we're completing the model and working on it, then the new parts or the modifications we make, all of it is going to propagate over to the Windchill side. So in this case, maybe I want to take a rod here and I want to make a connecting rod that goes from one side to the other. This is a brand new part. This is not something that existed in Windchill up to this point. You saw me come in here into SolidWorks and create a new part. So what happens then is as I create this new part, complete integration between the two tools, it's gonna, as I check this in, it's going to create this new part in Windchill. If you have a naming convention or part numbering scheme or something, it will automatically apply to this new part in Windchill. And this will be a new part that's searchable. I can open it in Windchill. You can see it here in SolidWorks. It's going to have its own attributes, its own lifecycle state automatically. It'll be given a version automatically. And it's now going to be a new part that's been added to that assembly that I can go into Windchill and search independently. And just like we saw before, I could even come into the properties, maybe add something like material. So in this case, I just want to say it's to be determined. I don't know what the material is going to be yet, but it's just an example of some object-specific metadata that, once again, is going to be searchable in Windchill. In this case, this is a new part, right? You saw me go and create the new part. So I didn't go into Windchill originally and check anything out. I just took the assembly and while I was working in SolidWorks, kind of on the fly, added that connecting rod. So what you can see here is as soon as I'm done, I want to save the changes I've made, but I never checked it out to begin with. So as soon as I go to save it, Windchill alerts me. It says, hey, you made changes to the steering column foot assembly. You never checked it out. So what it says is, well, in order to actually finalize those changes, to push those to Windchill, you need to go ahead and do the checkout, go ahead, save everything. And then what you'll see now is even though I never did it to begin with, we checked it out, it automatically checked it back in, and now you will be able to see all of those changes here pushed into Windchill. So it's making sure that actually as you're working, you're not skipping steps. Nothing's going out of line. You're following the process, you're following the standard, and everything's going to be controlled how it should be. So we made a few changes here. I changed the model, we changed the drawing. I'm just going to go ahead and check all this in at once. I don't want to go into each file. And then I'm going to check this box too, auto associate parts to CAD documents. And what that's doing is actually, if you work in Windchill, you might be familiar with WT parts. Auto associate parts to CAD documents is associating the CAD file to the WT part. So WT parts act like buckets. it's putting the CAD file in the bucket, which in this case is specifically for the connecting rod, because that's not a part that existed in Windchill before this.
So I had a question that came in
that
pertains to what you're showing here. So the question is, when you open files, how do you know if the file is checked out? So there's a check-in, check-out method to Windchill. So how do you know whether you're working in Windchill, and if you work on it, any changes that are being made regarding if you're working within Windchill, or you're checking it out and then checking it back in? And that's part one. And the other part is in relationship to assemblies, where you're not checking out all the files within an assembly, just specific parts.
Sure. Two good questions. Whenever you're working in Windchill, if something is checked out, you're actually going to see it whenever even if you're looking at the page that I'm on now on the screen, there would actually be a notification or a comment beside any one of those files that someone's working on. And it will literally say, Rob, if me and you work in Windchill, it'll say checked out by Rob Romanowski, checked out by whatever their name is. So you're going to know it's checked out, and you're going to know who has it checked out. If you were to go and let's just pretend you didn't see that, and you went to try and open it and work on it, it's going to not let you check it out because someone else has it checked out in the meantime. Now that's the case whether you're opening it in Windchill itself. It's the case if you're opening it from SolidWorks, because you could actually, without ever going into Windchill, just do a file open in SolidWorks. And since it's connected to the Windchill server, you can see all the files that are managed in Windchill from there. And it's going to be the same scenario. If there's a part that you want to open that's checked out by somebody else, there's going to be a notification there that says that. So kind of regardless where you go to actually access it, you're going to know that it's checked out by someone else. You're going to know who that person is, and it's not going to let you check it out.
Cool.
All right.
Excellent.
Okay, well, we'll just keep trucking through here. So what I want to do now is back in Windchill here, I want to open up the steering column foot assembly and show you what this looks like. So a couple things. First off, you see our blue foot plate. So that's been updated. And then if I rotate this visualization around, there's my connecting rod. So all of the changes that I'm making, even though I really never opened this part from Windchill, I just did it from SolidWorks and created a new part from SolidWorks, all these changes push over to Windchill. It's another example of how seamlessly integrated these two tools are. They're not working independently. It's really a relationship between the two. They're working hand in hand. And if I even go into the structure here, what you can see is at the bottom of that part structure on the left, there's my steering column foot. So if you actually have like a pre-configured naming scheme or something, it would be given that name automatically. In this case, I don't for this example, but you can see here what it would look like. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. And you'll even see once again there in the bottom, object specific attribute says material is to be determined. I added that comment. You can see I created the part a minute ago in SolidWorks, but it even automatically generated that visualization for me here in Windchill as well, to let everyone else know what this part that I created is and actually interact with it, take a look at it, see it, even maybe open it in Creo view, take some measurements of it, add comments to it if maybe you want it to be changed or something. So really good connection between the two tools. Right. And now at this point, now that we've added our part, we've made the changes, maybe it's time for me to start a promotion request, in which case I'm actually going to come into Windchill and maybe I have some sort of workflow in place where I want to say, all right, this is a new design that I had out of the box or out of the gate. It's going to be prototype, but I want to promote everything that's in the prototype or design phase here to be released. Really, a change of life cycle state is what this comes down to. And at that point, it's going to kick off to other people that are maybe in your workflow, could be automated, might be manual. And they're going to maybe, if they're part of the workflow, get assigned a task to actually go in, review the changes that I made, sign off on them. So it's a level of security. And then at that point, once it has been reviewed by the appropriate users, it's going to be released for everybody to see. So these are changes. It's not always, unless you want it to be, it doesn't always have to be an immediate change in Windchill. It can be delayed. You can set a date. Let's say, for example, as you make changes, you go in and you're part of a workflow, it gets reviewed, accepted, and then maybe you have a certain specific release date where you want it to actually propagate across everyone in the system. If I'm someone that actually would have been assigned that task, you can just access it from your tasks on your home screen. You can come in here. I can take a look at that task. It automatically includes all the parts and the files that are relevant and that have changed. And then you can see here as I scroll down the screen of my task, maybe I want to add a comment in, and I can just select either approve, reject, or rework, complete. And then at that point, I would complete my task in the workflow, and it would automatically be assigned to the next person. All right. So with that being said, that's what I wanted to take you through for a general introduction to the SolidWorks Workgroup Manager inside of Windchill. With that being said, I do just want to finish off here summarizing really how this can benefit you. The idea with this is you're standardizing everything, all of your data onto Windchill, onto one platform. So obviously in the case today, that involves SolidWorks. It also goes for a lot of other third-party CAD authoring tools as well. Your NX, your Inventor, your CATIA, your SolidWorks, your Creo, all of that data is still going to roll up to one system, even into one bill of materials inside of Windchill. And with that full traceability that Windchill provides, what you're going to do is you're going to reduce scrap, you're going to reduce rework, you're going to reduce cost as you're really dramatically cutting down on the overwriting of CAD models between designers and engineers by using a single source of truth, which is Windchill, and utilizing that check-in and check-out system. And then ultimately what this does is it accelerates your time to market. Windchill's making it very easy for you to reuse designs, reuse pre-existing CAD models that you have, on your designs now, on your past designs, on your future designs. You're going to reduce scrap and rework, make sure that you're getting your product to the finish line a whole lot faster and spending way less money in the process. So that's what I had planned to take you through for this demonstration of Windchill or SolidWorks Workgroup Manager. Thanks for coming, everyone. And I guess we can go ahead, Rob, and answer whatever questions are left.
Yeah, we have a few. So
Okay.
one of the questions is, does Windchill automatically, or is Windchill automatically managing SolidWorks file dependencies as it does with native Pro E files?
Yep. Once you're integrated with SolidWorks Workgroup Manager, the whole idea is that relationship would look no different, really. It's going to work the same. It's going to have the same benefits as if you're using Pro E or Creo. So yes, to answer your question.
Yeah, I love that Windchill does that. Next question, is there a way to save SolidWorks document templates and sheet formats in Windchill and have the SolidWorks application be able to access?
Yes, absolutely there is.
Cool. And that's something that we can make sure during the setup process can be done for you. It's something that can be confirmed as Windchill is set up. We're very proficient at setting up Windchill. Actually, as a reseller, 3H Tab, we were the first PTC reseller to ever sell Windchill, and our principal Gary Hoffman was a sales rep with PTC for 10 years, and he was the first sales rep to sell Windchill to Lockheed Martin. So not only is Gary very proficient in understanding of Windchill, but our technical staff is too, and we have customer references. We can give you some more detailed information. We've been doing this a long time, and we're the best at it. We have people, PTC has sent clients to us saying, hey, we've got this client that needs some assistance with Windchill, and we've got them through the issues and through the problems. So it's pretty exciting for us. Next question, is watermarking of the SolidWorks viewable functions similar to Creo? Is the SolidWorks viewable platforms same in ThingWorks Navigate on viewing data?
Yes and yes, because really all that you're doing in Windchill is visualizing a lightweight representation of whatever is in SolidWorks. So once the files are checked in, the SolidWorks files, Windchill interprets them, and it's actually Creo View, which is just built into Windchill, is what is generating those visualizations and allowing you to actually display them or to visualize them. So if it's viewable and if it's opened and viewable in Creo View, you can open it and view it in Windchill, and the visualizations that are generated in Windchill are also going to be the same ones that you're viewing in ThingWorks Navigate. ThingWorks Navigate is just a viewer for Windchill data. So it's pulling whatever's in Windchill, displaying the same thing. So everything that we did today, as we're looking at SolidWorks files, as we're looking at SolidWorks drawings, as we're making changes and watching the visualizations update in Windchill, the same exact thing would be happening. Even if in Navigate, if you're an exclusive Navigate user, you might not even work in Windchill, you might just use Navigate. You'd be seeing all of the changes in real time, all the updated information.
Cool. Does Windchill work with pads program?
Pads, I don't know, that's a software, I assume. I'm not sure. I'll have to look. I never heard of pads, but I'll make a note of it and check into it.
Yeah, schematics.
Schematics. Maybe. It might not be as out of the box as the SolidWorks Workgroup Manager is in this case, because it's already it's like a pre-built tool. But it might be able to manage it. We'd have to take a look at it. Might just take some more customization.
Okay. Yeah, and printed circuit boards as well.
Yeah.
Another question that came in a little earlier was regarding interoperability with Windchill and within Windchill, where SolidWorks cannot open objects that were created in Creo, but Creo can open and readily access SolidWorks objects. So now I know because of Unite technology, Creo can open, and you can open any CAD file within Creo. Well, the major ones like Siemens and CATIA and SolidWorks.
Well, I mean, in that case, it seems like from that question, let me look at the chat here. Has PTC fixed the interoperability? So that's really not a PTC issue. That's an issue where SolidWorks can't open Creo files. That's on SolidWorks, frankly.
That's what I was thinking.
Creo's really good at opening other files, so it can kind of spoil you, but not all other systems are as good at it. So if there's an issue where SolidWorks is struggling to open a Creo file, there's not a whole lot we can do. That's on SolidWorks to improve that functionality. That's a problem that we've actually heard before. I'm not sure where they're at in fixing it or addressing it.
Okay. Next question. How far behind in the SolidWorks release cycle does it take for Windchill compatibility?
That's a good question. I believe it's maybe a year or 6 months, maybe. We'll have to check into that. It's not very long. Usually it's like a version or an iteration behind, I believe. I'll also make a note of that, and then we can check that. We can verify it for sure.
Okay. Question with 2D drawings and Creo. 2D drawings losing dimensions on the drawing after changes are made and reopening the file. I'm not familiar with that issue, but I can address that directly with you and get you a find out exactly what issue you're having is, because that's not something that I'm really familiar with. Cool. All right. Well, I think we've answered all the questions. So I want to thank everybody for attending the webinar. We have another question regarding Windchill analysis within RELX. I mean, that's a great program, Windchill reliability prediction. There's a whole suite of capabilities within Windchill quality that we can, discuss offline and give you whatever additional information you need regarding Windchill quality. So with that, we're going to close the webinar today. Lots of really good questions. We appreciate the interaction. Appreciate the good questions, and thank you for being on. So tomorrow we're having a webinar. Some of you may have received an invitation for what's new in Creo 10. That webinar is going to be running tomorrow at noon. So if you're interested in finding out what's going on with Creo 10 and seeing what's new, be sure to join us at noon. So thank you everybody for being on today, and Zach, thank you for leading us.
Sure.
And I will have the recording set up today by tomorrow at the latest, and get an email out to everybody with the link to the recording so you can watch it at your leisure. Thanks everyone. Want to appreciate you all being on. Take care.